Hello there, welcome to the Learning Pro Live. My name's Cath Ellis, and today we have got an absolute wicked episode for you. We're going to be talking about building custom games in Articulate Storyline. When I was thinking about who I'd like to talk to, there was one person that came to mind, and that was Emily Chorley. Welcome, Emily. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, Emily has told me she's a little bit shy. There's absolutely nothing to be shy about, right? We're going to have a laugh, and hopefully you guys tuning in, you'll give us all your, just bombard us with questions, okay? You've got the master here of building games in Storyline. Emily does such a great job. For those of you who don't know you, Emily, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I am one half of Team Chorley. I'm Mrs. Team Chorley. My husband is the other half, who's recently started doing the same stuff as I've been doing all these years, and is just doing awesome. I've been in e-learning probably for about 13, 14, maybe even longer, because I forget how old I am. 14 years, and always worked in Storyline, right from Storyline 1 and now in 360. And I just don't like using Storyline the way that everyone else uses it. I try and make it as interesting and do something completely different. So you look at something and think, wow, what was that built in? And you say, oh, Storyline. Like, no way. So I use it to its maximum potential, but I'm still finding out loads of other stuff that I can add to it. So I'm still not at the end of learning everything yet.
I saw your comment today about, I didn't know that you could add audio to triggers.
Yeah, that is just an absolute game changer for me now. It's going to make life so much faster. I thought I'd done it by mistake as well, and people are saying, no, that's actually a thing.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, if you're tuning in, guys, let us know where you're tuning in from, and let us know if you've seen Emily's games before. Because I have to say that there are a few people out there that do games, and you're just the one that I think is a standout at the moment. Like, you just really investing your time into it. And I find that I dig into things and I learn how to do them, and then I don't do them for a little while and I forget a lot of the tips and tricks that I've learned. But you seem to be just really immersed in it. So I think it's a perfect time for people to ask loads of questions.
Yeah, whatever I can.
So you live in Portugal?
Yep, for about 6 years now. I think we're coming up to our 6th or 7th year. I'm never sure.
Life's not bad, eh?
Yeah.
So is it night? So it's coming into winter.
Yeah, we've got autumn at the moment. It's really cold in the mornings now, but I think later today our forecast is still 28 degrees, so it's quite warm in the afternoons, but freezing cold first thing and before bed. So it's quite nice this time.
Troy Ashman's just says, love seeing Emily's work. Well, Troy, you're in the right place. We've got her here. We can ask her loads and loads of questions. And you sent through a demo before. You sent a demo of a Halloween game that you were going to share and showcase. How do you want to go about this? Do you want to just chat about how kind of you went into it, or do you want to just show it and we can get people interacting and asking questions? How about we do that?
Yeah, okay.
So down at the bottom, you can just do the share screen.
So hang on a second, I need to pick which screen I'm on because I never actually know.
Awesome. And then I'll add it onto the screen here. Here you go.
Are we ready?
That's it.
Okay, so this is the just a little demo. Sometimes we like to do some free, just for fun little games, just to kind of mess around and see what we can do ourselves. And we're both working on a Halloween theme game at the moment. My husband's doing this awesome walkthrough, and I'm just doing a little. It's kind of like a chain game, so you have to see what pops up, and then you have to get the right order when you've seen it.
Cute. I'm loving the little sound effects. Oh, there you go. That's cool.
not quite finished yet. I still need to add a few more bits and bobs in.
Ah, it looks really nice.
This is all completely Storyline and Illustrator when I take all my images apart.
Yep.
So night is overtaken day. You must bring back the balance before it's too late. Follow the sequence exactly to restore the light again. So what did you see? Can you remember what order this
Cute. I saw a pumpkin first, and then I'm pretty sure I saw the skull, and then I saw the ghost.
The ghost? This one?
I think, yep. Yeah.
So there will be another version of that, and it just keeps going and going, and getting harder. And then when you win, ta-da! And it's this one here where I actually accidentally put the audio on the state of the congratulations flying in. That's amazing. So that is that. What should I do now?
Well, we could leave it up for a minute if you want. Let's see if the guys have some questions. So we've got Valentina who says, huge fan. Your works are one of the reasons I am learning articulate.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. And Troy's saying, this is neat, loving the sound effects.
Yeah, I have to give credit to my husband though, because he was putting such a big deal into his game with all the sound effects. And I've never really done that much with sound, so I kind of stole that from him. But it works well, so I'm sure he won't mind.
Oh, looks really great. Looks really great. Now, I think a lot of people would be looking at this and they'd be going, oh, I could never do that. I don't have the graphic expertise to do anything like this. Yeah. Can I ask, do you source your resources and then manipulate them in Illustrator?
Absolutely. I am not an artist in that respect whatsoever. I will take images from Shutterstock, Dreamtime, and there'll be scenes, and I'll take them apart and then take the pieces I want and just mix and match all sorts of different things together. Like what you see on the screen now, that's probably about 9 different images that I found that I've ripped to pieces and put back together. So I don't actually draw anything other than like a box or a star or something.
Yeah. So it's very in line with things that I've been saying to people for a little while, especially as a freelancer, Emily. You know, I've said the best thing that you can do is learn Illustrator. Like now, I don't know if you're a Photoshop or Illustrator. I'm an Illustrator girl.
I don't have a clue in Photoshop, just Illustrator.
Yeah.
And Storyline.
Because you can recolor every single element if you're downloading vectors. Yeah. And even the way that you applied the orange hue and then the purple hue, you know, sometimes you'll be lucky enough to find that image in 2 hues, but if not, yeah, but if not, you can manipulate it, and it's so effective what you've done.
It's brilliant. And when you get a handle on Illustrator, it's kind of like sky's the limit then, because then you can just keep mixing and matching and just kind of you learn as you're going along. It's brilliant.
So Emily's been one of these that I've been watching. You know, I've certainly been watching over the last year. I don't think I really knew about you before, Emily, but certainly in the last year, I got to know you and got to know your work. And I've loved how you've really pushed the boundaries with different games, whereas it's making things have a little bit of a parallax effect in some points. You know, you're just adding subtle movement, and you've really you're layering these interactions in just a really nice way. And let me jump on here. But you know, guys, if you have questions about this, you've got an opportunity here. Jump in, because you're all very quiet right now. So tell me a little bit about your journey, how you got started. Was it simply finding inspiration, finding a game out there, or finding something that you liked. I look at Dribble, for example, and then saying, that looks cool. Let me see if I could create an effect that looks like that. How did you go around starting
I'm not
building games?
Because I only used to go to like one place for my inspiration until Kristen, who I work with, said, "Oh, check out this, check out that, check out this," and I'm like, "Whoa!" Because he said to me a while back, "Where do you get the inspiration from?" I said, "Oh, just kind of like video games and we don't really watch that much TV, so there's just music and stuff that goes on in the background." And there's one site that I use, just like Shutterstock, and then he's like, "Oh, try looking here, try looking there." It's like, whoa, my mind was just blown. Like all these other ideas that I could like take from, because I kind of feel like I just steal things and repurpose them. I don't feel like I'm particularly original in that respect. But yeah, I will see an image and think, "Oh, that'd be an awesome game," or I look at things and think, "Oh, well, I can see there's X number of pieces to that image, and what could I do there to make it instead of just one background? You've just got this bit comes on and something pops up and all the layers." And it's kind of just second nature now, the way that I look at things. But in terms of games, yeah, that's a good one because I'll be like, I have an idea, and like, "Oh, I wonder if you can do this in storyline. Oh, interesting. I wonder if you can try that." And I'll purposely set myself aside some time to try and figure out how it all works, and I won't stop until I figured it out because I'm absolutely sure that you can do anything and everything in storyline.
Yeah.
I've tried so far as worked eventually. Some stuff's taken ages to figure out, but other stuff is just like, "Oh yeah, easy peasy," and completely shocked me how easy it is. But yeah, just getting your head around the triggers as well. That's where I struggle because maths is definitely not my strong point.
No, but I think once you suss it out, I remember when I started, and you were probably about the same time with storyline one, whereas now the interface has been updated. It is a little bit easier than what it used to be. If you built a game or something that has loads and loads of triggers, and then you had to go, "Fuck, why isn't this working?" Right? And you just be like, "Oh my God." And you'd be going through, and it's really dependent on the order of things, especially when you've got a number of triggers on. Like if you want something to complete, like an award coming in, really you have to make sure it's in the right order. Because sometimes you'd be like,
recently it wasn't working. And I would have always assumed, I don't know if I've got this right, that if it's at the top of the screen, that is the highest one, but it's not on the layers and on the triggers. It's the one at the bottom is at the forefront, I think. I can't remember. But
I think the one on the front, the one at the top, at least it used to be, that was the first. Oh, okay. That was your primary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is,
Troy's asked.
It should work, but it doesn't. So keep moving things around.
Yeah. He said that, how do you decide work gamification elements to or not to use when building a game, such as badges, points, avatars, personalization? And he said, or do you allow the game direction to dictate what to do? Don't use, sorry, typo above. Yeah, no dramas. So that's a really interesting question, Troy.
Yeah, I'm really lucky with the people I work with at the moment. I'm given a very good creative free rein, so I kind of just like be told, like, try and do something here, and I just crack on with it, and it just kind of comes as I'm building it. I don't always look at something and think, "Oh, maybe I'll try this, maybe I'll try that." I just start building things, and then it all kind of comes in as I'm building it. And my first thought will be, "Oh, well, it will be a little bit like this, a bit like that," and then before I know it, I'm completely on a different tangent, doing something completely different, and way more in depth. So I just get completely engrossed by it, and then kind of the outcome is just what it is. I don't plan for what happens half the time.
Yeah, I have this this philosophy. I'm doing a gamification course at the moment with a chap called Zach Fitzwalter. I want to say that's right. Zach Fitzwalter, yes. And he really inspired me. He wrote a PhD on gamification, and I'm looking at doing a similar PhD right now, but I don't know whether I can commit to it. But so he's got a course at the moment, and we're talking about the word delight. What brings delight to a game? And I'm working with him specifically on what kind of elements are appropriate, whether it's XP points or whether it's some kind of meter that rates your performance. Are you in a kind of are you at a level that you understand, or what are the choices that you make that make you go backwards on this kind of level? Or it could be a safety level, or and I was actually talking to Troy about this, how I try and utilize a lot of things that make sense to the situation. So if it's a firefighter, for example, in Australia, we have these fire danger ratings, and using something that the company is used to or familiar with, can make a lot of sense as well. Like, okay, using something familiar, or even just bringing someone's name in if they're a firefighter and putting it on their uniform. It's just something that's nice, if they said, my name's Harris, you've got it on their uniform. So Emily, you don't specifically go in there with a game plan. It's more as you do the build. Do you make a decision midway through? Because that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, it's difficult to explain because I've not really been asked it point blank before. I kind of just, I have maybe a tiny little rough guide because a starting point, and then I'll just kind of go on from there, and it just kind of comes as I'm building, majority of the time.
Yeah.
And then I'll just try and sit there. And if I've got a specific brief, right, we want, I know I did like the racing car one a while back. And so before I even started working on that, I had to think, how was it going to even come together? The things that I wanted to happen on it to replicate something from an existing game, how can I rebuild that in storyline? So I probably spent ages just lying in bed, going through all the variables in my head. How would this work? What piece would I do that? How would I control that? And so there is an awful lot of brain work in trying to figure out that side of things. It's not just all the pretty side, as much as I love the pretty side of everything. I'm the challenge of getting it all to work. But I suppose there is quite a lot of thought before I even begin, if I know what I need to create by the end of it.
Yeah. And guys, if you want to see Emily's work, her website is linked in the description of this video. So she's got teamchorley.com.
Yeah, that's quite a good update, that one.
Yep. You've got some examples of work, or definitely your LinkedIn profile. There's lots of examples of your work. But the game was great. It was very much like I was playing Forza, or
Yeah, it was based on
that kind.
I think I'm allowed to say Need for Speed Heat. That one was based on. So,
Need for Speed. Yeah.
It was really, really good fun to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's your process, is it? You sit and you try and work out, okay, for example, I've got the indicator that's saying the speed on there, and you work out, how am I going to make that work?
Yeah.
And if you're at a stage that you can't get something natively to work, do you go down a JavaScript route of?
No, I have not touched JavaScript at all. I have no idea, and I think I need to catch up with Troy on this at some point, because
he's great at it.
Quite a lot of questions about something that I'm coming up to do soon, and I think he'd be perfect to ask. But JavaScript, I've not got a clue. This one, with storyline, there's so many other opportunities that I could be bringing other things in, and I don't even know what they are. So I'm only a percentage of what's capable in storyline. So if I could add JavaScript in as well, who knows what else you can do. So
we need to get you guys together to look at this stuff. Gavin said, how do you balance creating something that looks amazing and is fun whilst still achieving a measurable outcome? So this is a great question, because I was going to actually ask you, without disclosing work names and things like that, but Obviously, the place that you work, they value the skill set that you bring to the organization. Do you find a lot of organizations are wanting gamification? And when something is a little bit more formal, because, I can imagine someone saying, oh, I want a, something that's absolutely boring, like accounting, even though I shouldn't say that, that can be made very fun, how to read a profit and loss sheet, right? How do you go about building that? What's your process?
Well, at present, because I work for other people as well, it's kind of, we get given a brief, and we do like a mix of everything. Not everything I do, as sad as I am to say it, is like as fun as what I get to do now. It's brilliant, don't get me wrong, but there's definitely a lot of projects that I'm way more interested in and excited about. And then you always get the other ones where they are more formal and the gamification doesn't come into it whatsoever. And I don't know, I've seen there's a lot of controversy on LinkedIn about this kind of thing about making it fun and exciting, because I think it's split 50-50. You get some people that are all for all the bright colours and the more childish kind of side of things, but then you get the other half of people saying, no, this is a, it's not acceptable. How are you going to learn anything from this? This is a serious.
Need it to be corporate. Yeah,
and you've got to go that way. But I don't know. I understand some people aren't visually excited about things, but I am one of those people, so I kind of just make things as visual as possible. And fortunately for me, it's okay. So, but if I had the option to choose, like, so and so wants this, and someone wants to come and pay to have this built and this built, and I would always go for the one that I could make more fun and exciting. Probably try and explain to the other person that, certainly from where I'm coming from, if someone's going to sit in front of a computer for a half hour, an hour doing a course, try and make it a bit more engaging. Because I don't know, I think maybe there's quite a few people that don't, they're not into video games, they're not into that kind of stuff and cartoons and whatnot. So they just don't see the need for the kind of stuff that we do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
so I'm one of these that I'm the same. If something comes through my pipeline and for work, I will generally make things very visual, because I find learning very difficult. So I actually need things to be chunked down, which I think when things are in nice little bite-sized pieces, it works very well to make things very visual, even if it's just a background, that you've got elements that they can click on to just learn these little concepts. Or, for example, I've been talking the last few times on the live stream about Animal Crossing. So I got a Switch delivered last week, and it's here somewhere under my junk, and I'm consumed with it, because I'm like, it's made me think a lot about Nintendo games. And I think your mind probably works in a similar way, because I look at some of your stuff, and I love the way that Nintendo introduce information. Then you go in, you the way that they present challenges. It's got me thinking a little bit about, well, that's really interesting. And you'll have people criticize Emily, both of our work, and say, oh, it's not for, blah, 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 it's not for adults.
Yeah.
But I absolutely think that these models are inspiring. They're not even speaking a language. Animal Crossing, none of the Nintendo games are in a specific language other than the text, all of the sound effects and everything. Anyway, it just makes me think a little bit about how we can do different types of content. And we were talking about this before. Storyline is really as good as, it's a blank canvas. You can do anything with it.
Yeah.
you know. So I've heard comments before from people that I've worked with going, oh no, storyline's rubbish and blah, blah, blah. And I totally disagree. I think storyline is a exceptional product once you understand text and variables.
Yeah, that's it. Layers and whatnot. When you get a hang of it, it's just, like I said before, sky's the limit. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
So I try
and even,
sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say, even just understanding master layers, colors, and all of the elements of the player, how you can manipulate those as well, or remove them. You've got something that's so clean that people, they don't even realize it's an authoring tool. Like I actually could sell a storyline product commercially, and it's not even for they've not even asked for e-learning. They've just asked for some kind of interactive tool.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have where it was built from. It's awesome.
No.
Yeah.
We've had Valentina just asked a question here. She said, do you see the application of gaming elements like you are using in recent works in higher education? I'm struggling with incorporating game elements into non-accredited higher ed courses.
Yeah, I think it would be really helpful because we've got 2 kids and age 8 and 10, and they learn completely different ways. Our son, he struggles to pick up information unless he sees it presented visually. And I think not last summer, a little while ago, he was struggling with his times tables. So I built him a Fortnite-inspired times tables walkthrough, and then questions that he could learn, like to try and do himself to see if he'd learned anything from the explanation. And because it had all these little characters in from one of his favorite games at the time, he was just so much more invested in it, and he did really well from it. And whereas our daughter, she doesn't need that visual thing; she can just look at numbers and know what she's doing. But I think because everyone learns in different ways, it's definitely a place for gaming elements in education and even higher education. Because for me, again, I'm such a visual learner. I would much prefer to read something important to me that was, engaging and bright and just gets my interest to begin with, rather than here's some information, read through this, and then answer this question. And for me, yeah, I definitely see application there.
Oh, absolutely. I do too. I mean, higher education, they're learning everything from coding. I mean, you could do little coding challenges. You could build, business, even if it's, you think about, you're talking about accounting. That's one idea. Business, you could take someone through a whole scenario of thinking about finances, savings. There's lots of things. I'm actually getting loads of people reaching out to me right now from everything from kids who are in, especially women. There was someone who reached out to me for a product for girls going through higher ed to help them manage money, because a lot of the time when we talk about money, it's in a very male orientated way. So it's actually about teaching kids, a little bit about entrepreneurship and different things like that. I mean, God, you could teach sex ed via games, that they.
I think it can be applied to everything.
Absolutely. And the nice thing about where Emily's going to look for images, so you use Shutterstock or iStock?
I mean, if you just Google free vector graphics, there's a whole list, and a lot of the time you get like a free trial, so you can download 10 free images and just
So Shutterstock is one example of one that's doing 10 free images. Yesterday I looked for an image and it was on Shutterstock. And they have packs of gamification elements. So they've got toolbars, the pop-ups, buttons. So Emily looks
ones with like lots on one screen instead of like getting them individually. Go for ones that've got 6 or 7 in one one kind of shot.
Yeah, I'll see if I can bring up FreePick. FreePick's another one that I use a lot of. And if you just type in, for example, hopefully you can see that.
Yeah.
Gamification or games, probably a better word rather than gamification. So you can see here little packs like this, even if it just gets you started. Okay, you could go, all right, well, that doesn't look very corporate. I'm not sure how I could use that. You know, all you need to do, and it's easier said than done, but if you can try and get your head around using Adobe Illustrator, or I'm trying to think the other free one, Emily, what is it?
I remember years ago there used to be one called GIMP, I think. I don't know if that's still going.
Yeah. What was it called again, Emily? GIMP, that's it.
I just know it has the same kind of features because it's a free one as well.
Yes. I mean, I spend most of my day in Adobe Illustrator. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Side by side with Storyline.
That's right. You know, so the best thing that you can do is basically, if you haven't done a course, try and get a little bit of a background. Just do an intro course in Illustrator or follow some tutorials on YouTube, and you can start recoloring some of these. You know, even if you look at this little user interface, once you can start working out how to unclip some of this stuff, ungroup, put them on separate layers, download them as separate PNGs, you can start working magic with them, you know. And that's just a FreePick, for example. So it's you know, once you start looking at these elements, or at least this is my point of view, I then can start visualizing different elements that I'll need for more corporate kind of products for clients.
Yeah.
So, you know, I this is how I'd start off. So I did a course recently that the badges came flying in if they got like the little formative assessment at the end of each section. They just asked a couple of questions and they were very gamey. And yeah, they just got a little indicator saying whether they got it right or wrong. And if they got it wrong, they could click on it and do it again so they could get all of them correct. So anyway, just showing that, showing that. We've got more questions. I'm just going to remove that. We had another question from Troy. I found personalization is great for delighting the learner and making it more personal, but even better if you can pull it from the LMS and not need them to type it in. Yeah. Is that something that you do anything with? Again, this is your JavaScript thing. Is it something that you do, Emily?
I don't think so. I'm not sure I understand. Sorry, Troy.
So what they can do is, you know, instead of a learner typing in their own name, there is a little bit of JavaScript in the Articulate Heroes that you can add.
Yeah.
And it will actually pull the name from the LMS.
Yep, no, JavaScript, not a clue. So no, I do not do that.
Maybe, Troy, you want to leave a comment and expand a little bit, share your knowledge on this, because I'm quite limited on it. Where I found it a challenge in a case that I tried to use it, the client wasn't putting the name in properly in the LMS. So it was coming in funny. So it couldn't actually be used. So sometimes clients just put an email address in and not a first name and last name, which was the case in which I couldn't use it. Or I think another case was they had a staff ID number. Anyway, so, but I agree with you. If there's ways that we can And as a freelancer, it's a bit difficult to know, because you've kind of got to do a test thing. So a lot of the time, I never see a client's LMS. So I'm working with a client right now. I will build their product. I'll build a little mock-up, send it to them. And it might just be one introduction section. I just want to make sure it completes properly and we've got the right settings on it, so that if for whatever reason, and Storyline's really safe, but if for whatever reason I send them a product and it doesn't work, it's like we've got time to investigate without, because I've heard stories in the past of people who've built modules and they don't work on the client's LMS. So I never get to see the client's LMS.
Build a certain storyline and then hand it over. And the rest
That's it. You hand it over for testing. But that would be useful if you can share anything, Troy, with everyone who's tuning in. We've got a LinkedIn user who says, what's your views on skill gaps analysis or training needs analysis? And is there a way to make it more simple to get the needs of the business? So I've got an answer on this, but what do you think, Emily? Have you got any?
Honestly, right now I'm not sure.
Well, I'll show an example of what I'm thinking about. There's a really great company in Brooklyn, in New York City, and it's called Amplify. And Brooklyn, God, I've had a long day today. Let me share this. Amplify. They basically they've developed an online curriculum for kids in school, and they've got all of these fantastic games. So you could see they've got all these different programs, and they build actual games. See if there's an example. Just like your daughter, games that teach people how to do maths or geography or things like that. But what they did was they rolled it out a number of years ago, and they did it to a small cohort, and these kids' grades went through the roof, having all of these digital games to help them learn. So they ended up rolling it out across the whole of New York City, and I think it's now like across quite a bit of America. Yeah. Now, I don't know why there isn't games, but what they did was they actually put a really cool tool in place that was to help identify gaps for teachers to understand. It was to help identify gaps for teachers to learn how to deliver online curriculum better. And it was like a game in itself. So it had, I think it was about 100 questions, and it would ask them, how confident are you with this or with that or the other? And at the end, it had like there's a game show back in the UK when we were kids, Emily, and I'm trying to think of what, it had like, pardon?
Wheel of Fortune, you have to guess the letters at the end?
A little bit like that. It was, I'm trying to think of the shape. It's a hexagon. Do you remember there was a show with hexagons? Anyway, so it has all these hexagons in different topics, and it basically mapped out for each teacher. If you don't, okay, so these are the things that you're strong at, and these are what you're not strong at, and here are resources that you can click up through the end of the module to find out more. So I think as far as, I'm sorry, one moment. I've got a crying cat trying to get out. And he'll be a nightmare if we didn't let him out. So if you think about Storyline being a blank tool, you could build any kind of skill gap analysis or training needs analysis. I'm sorry. Via a tool like this. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but I would certainly say that the sky's the limit with this kind of thing. You know, that's why I sometimes have clients come to me with a specific requirement, like a course, and what they actually need is some kind of tool that can take them down a branching scenario and then give them resources at the end of it that are specifically that are going to help them, you know. So it's not really about teaching them anything, but it's identifying, okay, what are your gaps in knowledge here? I don't know, Emily. It's just a different type of game, isn't it?
Yeah, because I was going to take the kids' school books because they learn everything over here in Portuguese because we're in Portugal. And I was just going to take their school books because the online resources that they had for them were absolutely atrocious. And I can barely even log on to them, and I've got a half decent PC. So goodness knows how all the regular kids accessed anything. So I was just going to kind of just turn their entire school book into like their textbooks into an online kind of game for them, so they could go through the curriculum at the same pace they do at school, but everything they learn at school they could then just kind of have a play about at home. But I did have to sack that idea off because I got a bit busy with work. but yeah, I think that'd be an awesome idea. Just getting everything online. So if you aren't strong in one point, here's something that you could work on, and it's all there ready to go.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if that's the right answer, the right thing that they were asking for, but I can't find it now. But it was a special tool that was for teachers. So not only was their product great, but also the way that they really considered where's the gap for teachers and how could they support them with additional resources. Yeah. Joy also said, differentiated education, providing a number of solutions to choose from towards the same end. Yeah. I think we've covered that.
Visual learners versus slightly different learners. So everyone could learn the same thing, but a slightly different way and still get to the same outcome.
Well, did you see the new release that Articulate put out today?
Is that one?
So there's a function now. Let me see if I can bring it up on my LinkedIn. But it will allow you, I think, in an easier way to do it's on the tip of my tongue, so instead of getting a learner to do the whole content, they can basically do like a pre-assessment, and if they understand it, it will mark it off as complete. If they don't pass it, so it will be like a, what's the term? Like a
I don't know.
I can't think of it. Well, let me see if I can bring up Articulate's post because they're actually talking about it. And of course, I can't find it because I'm typing Articulate Storyline. Companies. But I think that will be a bit of a game changer as well. Articulate. Now I'll find they didn't post it on their thing. Yeah, new storyline, exciting quiz functionality. Okay, so they're saying they've released some functions in which you can mark it off as far as your tracking when you publish it. So when a learner completes a quiz, Okay, so there's multiple things that they can basically do. And they've got a live example in which, where is it? I can't find, but it's something worth looking at.
Yeah.
Maybe it's here. Yeah, so choose your path, but it has a specific name, and I'm going crazy that I can't think of it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we'll go in and we'll have a look at that at some point. Anyway, we'll get back on track. But yeah, I suppose if you've got a visual learner, they can go down a path, Joy, of enjoying doing the game. And if you've got someone who's not a visual learner, you could take them down a different path, you know, that tells them the information, I suppose. Okay, more questions. Troy, it's hard to do if the LMS hasn't been set up with specific fields like names. I agree, Troy. Pain in the arse. He says, but Articulate Heroes has a post of JavaScript to use to retrieve the name from the LMS and link it to the text variable, but it depends on the LMS and fields. Yeah. And Razor is from Dubai. She's jumping in there as well. She said multiple criteria of completion. Joy, yeah, Jess, yes, exactly. Not talking about learning styles, more about what appeals and delights. And Razor said, I just did a post on it. Share. Oh, you just did share the link. Great. We'll have a look at that in a little while, Razor. And she says, yes, I love the new update. They can track multiple quizzes. But it has a word. It has a specific word, and it's going to drive me crazy. Anyway, so what's the demand out there? How are you finding? Are you finding that you're spending a lot of time in your own professional development doing games? Do you think for those who are interested in going into this kind of, I'm saying going into this space, maybe working on their own professional development to learn how to do some of this, is it worthwhile? Can it lead to something? Can it lead to an interest? Like obviously, you're working for an employer that has got work like this coming through. I suppose I want to just try and encourage people to not be don't be discouraged. This isn't something that everyone is asking for. A lot of clients are wanting corporate work, but it's a lot of fun to go on out there and just try and look at different games. And I'll stop talking. I'll hand it over to you.
Absolutely. But I mean, of my paid work I do versus the games work I do a little bit of games here and there, but majority of my paid work is actually just normally learning. But I will try desperately to get some free time in whenever I can get it, just to create things for my kids. Just something I've got my own idea, like, oh, I really fancy trying to try this out. So I just set some time aside and just crack on and do it. The example I showed at the beginning is I don't really know where you can go with it from that. I don't actually build anything like that for clients, other than maybe the mini games that I've put on LinkedIn before, where they're part of a bigger project and it's just something fun at the end. Well done, you made it through the course. Let's just have a bit of fun and see what high score you can get. But in terms of what I've created for the Halloween one, the stopping point now is how can I get it out there? What can I do with it when it's finished? Because I would love to be able to package it and put it on the App Store or something. But the storyline at the moment, as far as I'm aware, that isn't an option. And that would be the next stage for me, certainly.
Well, I'll tell you what I used to be really inspired by, Emily. Sponge UK, which are now We Are Sponge.
Right. The guy who works there, I used to work with him back in Marjon at the university for like 4 years. So
yeah.
well,
is it Jason?
Adam Reed.
Adam, yep. So Jason was one of the individuals that went to Sponge and was kind of given, he came from a gaming background and was given articulate storyline. They just kind of said, right, make games, break it, like just do as much as you want.
Yeah.
And what they did is every Christmas they released a Christmas game, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think things like that are so fun, right? And they'd market it all up and they'd send it out. And I haven't seen a game from them in a while, but let's have a look. So I'm just going to go Sponge UK Christmas. And you'll see they had a little guy with an elf. Yeah. So I'm just looking up the images now. They had 2 games that they brought out. So here you go. Let me share this screen. So one was Save Santa, right? And I think he had to like shoot. Yeah, and it just looks so cute.
Yeah.
And really, guys, it's as simple as they have used really nice. This may have been created from scratch, right? But certainly, if it was me, I'd be looking on iStock, Free Pick, or any of these other tools to see, is there anything that I can create a little game like this?
Definitely.
And it's the challenge is the mechanics, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Like I can see there's like a platform game in the top corner there. Because we send out a kind of like an e-card, but an interactive one every year from Team Chorley, and we do the same thing. And I think I did a platform game, and you had to search for the elves and stuff and find things. Oh, and there's an ice. Like you have penguin, and you had to push the ice. Oh, there's Adam there. See a picture of him.
Yeah.
And you had to push the pieces of ice out the way so that Santa could get to the sleigh to get on and deliver the presents. And it's just things like that, like we're doing now, because it's nearly Halloween. Why not do something Halloween just for fun? Because you learn so much from it. It's awesome.
So I'd encourage you to keep doing it and to brand it up Team Chorley. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Why not? Have it go just the same way. Yeah, I love this. I mean, I think this looks like it was Plymouth. This is your old stomping ground.
To work with them, but because they at that point they didn't know I wasn't still in Plymouth, but no, because I'm in Portugal now, so it's no good they wanted at that point in-house people. Because it would have been awesome to follow on with Adam.
They were a company that I wanted to work for so bad. I'm pretty sure I wrote to Adam about 5 times and said, can I work for Sponge? And they were like, no, you need to be here. Maybe things might be a bit different now with COVID-19, but I'd love to have, their work reminded me of, when I saw your work, it reminded me of Sponge's work. Yeah, it's really, really cool. And they do a lot of things with games, and we're able to sell a lot of things with games. So I think another example of a good one is one that Learning Pool did with Tesco. And it was a health, safety and well-being course. And it's probably... there was a Learning Pool. Let's just put game. No. So there was... No. Okay, so I'm not sure if this will show. But they basically Yeah. So they basically, you know, have gamified, and all of these characters are from iStock, you know.
They remind me so much of characters.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's loads and loads of different things that you can do that are just really fun. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I can go into. But there's lots of organizations that are doing great stuff like this. Now, as far as so we've got a couple of other little comments here. What's Razor saying? Learning paths. I think you got the link already. Haha. I know, I'm so dizzy. Love your work. Go Team Chorley. Absolutely. Arash, the sponge games were amazing. Definitely good inspo for what you can do in storyline. So what's your what have you found, Emily, as far as your limits? Have you found that there's things that are just really, like, I'd love to be able to do platforms, you know, platformers, jumping, things like that. It's really quite difficult.
Yeah, to get, yeah, it is. I think I kind of get to a point where you think you're putting so much effort into this in storyline. What is the point when there are other programs out there that are specifically made for doing this kind of, what's the point? You know, I get a bit of a point where I'm like, I'm struggling. Do I put the effort in to try and do this when it can so easily be done in another program that at some point I will get around to trying to learn? There's like a million things on the list. I need to do this, I want to learn that, I want to learn this. And it's just no time to do it all. But at the moment, I don't think, touch wood, that I found a limit, because, or maybe I just haven't tried testing out to build the right thing yet to find that, oh no, definitely can't be done. I don't know, but now it sounds like a challenge, like jumping. I try to do that in one of the next games.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. You know, I certainly, I haven't gone down a route of making any full-on games. I really have just added, as Troy said before, delight to courses, whether it's little XP points or giving them, you know, some kind of meter to show their progress. Yeah. Giving them little badges or achievements, and really just changing states of things. Sound effects can work quite well. You said you are
states.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I got a comment recently on a course that I released that the sound effect annoyed somebody when the evaluation results came in. So I think it's just being really always thinking about the learner and going, if someone was trying to do this in quite a noisy environment and they didn't have headphones, you know, what's going to be a good, you know, it depends on the environment. You know, kids love noise, you know, so if it's building something for schools.
Yeah. But one of the comments someone said is they've been, I can't remember who it was because I haven't been able to go through all the comments properly yet, but on the one where I accidentally found that you could put sounds onto states, which is just a game changer for me. It saves so much time already. They're saying, oh, even like they've been using it for ages for their hover states. So when you click a button, when you hover over it, and I think it's awesome. But the reason I thought it was maybe by accident that I found it was because once you've got a state, you can't then see your own mini timeline of what's on that state, and it's confusing. So so sometimes if I want a state to be a hover state, but for the background picture to stay the same, and then another color to come over the top and kind of do a swipe effect, I have to copy it and paste it just so I can access that shape to then do the trigger, not the trigger, do the effect on it, the wipe effect. Because if you take the hover state straight from when it's hovered, you can't do anything with it unless you copy it exactly where it was, which is why I'm never sure if I'm doing things that have always been there or if I found a happy accident.
There's certainly things, there's certainly things like that they're a little bit frustrating that they don't come standard, that you can change. You know, I want to be able to hover over a button and have, so sometimes not all the time, but because I'm trying to make more modern looking menus and, you know, icons that, let's say it's a cross to close something. I want to hover over that and have it turn.
Yeah.
You know, there's different ways that you can do that with, but I want to be able to do it within states. So yeah, you have to really start copying, pasting, and yeah, it's just sometimes with misalignment, it can get messy.
And even when they are perfectly aligned, like X and Y, even on preview, there's still a very tiny little blip, and there's no reason for it, and it still doesn't line up. That's for
Yeah.
Because a lot
I
of
actually.
So,
no, sorry, Emily, go on.
A lot of the stuff that I've been doing, certainly for the Halloween game, is I've got the little things coming in that look like they're coming through the door or through the side wall. Is actually just the same image cropped and layered over the top to that point, so that they kind of come in behind it, but it still looks like one picture. And
Yeah.
stuff like that is a massive issue if there's just that tiny little blip when it's slightly out.
Yeah, I find that sometimes with an update, it fixes things. So I just did a little module in which I just had some little icons that I had put over the buttons. And actually the hover state was a different color, but it looked like it was thicker on the hover state. It's never happened before. It's always the way I've done it. And I was like, oh God, is that one of the little niggles with it? But the client's not going to see it. It's only me that's seeing it because I'm so anal about it looking perfect. We've got Razor who's saying, I had those comments too with generic targeted courses at a wide range of audiences. It varies. Some really like the background sounds as it made the course lively, while others I got a long email saying it was a bother. Yeah, I really
the best thing in those situations is if we just put like a turn sound on off effect.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Will work for us, but hey, if it keeps everybody happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Arash is saying Hero Land, it's in Flash, always amazed me as it was an adventure game completely built. Do you know this one?
I've seen Richard building it, I think.
Let's have a look. richardhill.com Hero Land. Okay, that didn't work. Richard, Lee Hill. Yeah. Let's see if this will work. Flash, it might not. Oh, here it's loading. I'll bring it up when it starts. Let's see. Okay. How old is this now, Emily? Bit old.
I'm too. Thank you. Yeah, it's the same one. It's very good.
Oh, yeah. I did see this. This is quite old now, I think.
Yeah. But I was really impressed with the way her little feet move and everything. It's brilliant. Rather than just
Yeah.
screen. Sorry, can I just circle back? I've just remembered something else I thought, talking about learning and teaching and making it more fun. When lockdown started, I got a group of people, although we didn't get too far with it all because I got sidetracked. We started building. I did a Captain Redfrow's web bounty search where you have to go through the storyline, but then it takes you outside to NASA or to National Geographic. then you have to answer the question based on what you saw by going there to make sure the kids had read stuff and research. And at the end, you get a code that was supposed to be, which hasn't quite finished yet. You get 4 or 5 on when you go to different versions of places, to unlock his treasure chest at the end. And that's like a really cool one.
Yeah, share it. Let's have a look. As much as you want to share, everyone would love it.
Yeah, I found the Christmas one as well. Hang on. Let's see. How do I?
Here we go.
Oh, have you got me?
Yeah.
Okay, so now then.
I'll make it full.
I'm not sure if this will still be valid because I did notice they changed their website, which made a bit of a issue for me.
Captain Redrout's Web Bounty.
Cute.
Episode 1. BBC Earth.
It was brilliant because I got Paul McLaughlin to he was brilliant to jump on board and help out with all the voiceover as well.
Yar, mate. Here's Captain Redrout here, and I've stolen the treasure. We'll have to follow the clues and search the virtual seas to get it back.
So then it just goes into questions.
Part 1, clue. I'm very small. There aren't very many of us, and legend says some of us can breathe fire. Search the website for the answer to the clue. Then click continue when you're done.
So in this respect, it doesn't seem to be working. So perhaps not the best example. But
that's great.
What is it? It's some sort of dragon.
Part 2, clues.
So the
What
idea.
did we find?
You've been to the site, you've had a look, and just to check, did you find a manatee? Did you find, I think it's a Tasmanian devil, maybe?
Yep.
Great job, Mickey.
And you get it right, you move on to the next stage.
Part 3, find out more.
So then it takes you back, and you have to
Now
do some more
we need to
research.
look at the next few questions and see if you can search the website for the answers.
Okay, so that's that one. But here's this hour. I'm not sure who this belongs to, so I might end it early.
Okay.
Because they were all personalised ones at the end. This was our Christmas 2019 card we sent out.
Cute.
My bad, that was the end.
That's all right.
Oh dear. Oh, it's not going to let me show it. Well, there is a Christmas card, but perhaps not available right now. But there will be another one coming out this year, so give it a couple of months.
You definitely have to do it and see the games that you're doing. I think they just make people smile, mate. They're great, you know.
And I feel like I say, you're just learning as you're going along, so it's perfect.
Certainly as a learning designer, and you know, Mudasir is saying share that content, you know, people appreciate it. You know, Razor again, she's saying thanks for sharing. It was wonderful where you did the split the photo for that effect.
Yeah, same image layered on top and just cropped.
Yeah, you know, just it's I think it teaches people how to just work with the tool a lot better, you know, seeing the different things that you're doing. I still say that if someone's a freelancer and they are developing content, you don't have to be a graphic designer. I'm not a graphic designer. I get most of my things from stock imagery and manipulate them as I need them, remove what I don't want. Or if I hire a graphic designer, use their resources, or it could be a client's resources. So it just allows us to be, it just gives us that next level of skills. And like you said, looking everywhere, looking at games, looking at different things on TV, etc., you know, to give us inspiration. So
Yeah.
Is there any advice, any kind of advice that you give?
Yeah, I mean, I was asking, how do you do this? How do you do that? And my honest, I'm self-taught in Storyline, Illustrator, pretty much everything. If I want to know how to do something, I just Google it. I don't ask anyone else, just Google it. And 9 times out of 10, you'll find the answer, or you'll find something else that will help lead you to the answer. So yeah, instead of hounding everyone, like, oh, can you show me how to do this, show me how to do that? Just don't waste time with that. Just get on and Google and learn it yourself.
And do you find do you find your answers on Articulate Heroes a lot of the time, or?
On and off, yeah. I do, because I'll Google and then it will show up in the results, and then eventually I think I do end up there. But a lot of the time, some of the answers are quite old. They're from like 2015, 2014, and they're just not they don't help whatsoever. But often you find the comments on the thread, if you keep reading through, can help as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I find that. Guys, if you have any more questions for Emily, we're nearly tagging on an hour and 15 minutes. So I'm sure she'll be like, yeah, I've got to go soon. So if you've got any questions for Emily, let us know. I mean, it's been great having you on here. I talk a lot, so I'm sorry if I've spoken too much. But just to meet you and just to have you here to talk a little bit about your process. I think that it's so much fun what you're doing. I love it, whether it's for work purposes or whether it's for professional development. I think that certainly as learning designers, we can put so much more delight into our content if we work with nice graphics, and we can learn to tell stories using these tools. So it just depends on the graphics that you choose. And there's a significant amount of extra work that goes into it with games, rather than putting general screens together, and even just conceptualizing ideas. But do you have any goals that you want to what's in the pipeline for you? Obviously, you'll be thinking about your Christmas one soon, but
yeah, my husband and I are doing a collaboration on that one. We've got an awesome idea, which I'm not going to say anything about yet.
Okay.
Both of us working together on it, which will be our first collaboration, which will be awesome. But I do have something on the back burner. I say on the back burner. I'm trying to work on it at the moment. It's been being created, built, made for the last few years, and I'm like this close to launching it. So it'll be interesting to see how what I'm about to launch will be received by everyone, but that will be my next stage in everything. So watch this space. Sorry, it's very secretive.
No, that's great. That's great. I'd say to you, I think that in curriculum for kids, these are great. These little micro interactions that have great little themes to them,
It's helped because I've got 2 kids that sort of age that are interested in that kind of style. It's definitely spurred me on to keep going in that direction. So like, oh, Mummy, what have you done today? And it's like, oh, have a play. And like, wow. Or like,
soon it's going to be Team Chorley, the 4 of them churning out games. It won't be long until the kids are wanting to play around with it as well.
Yeah, because like you said about coding, our eldest, he's already big into his coding. So watch this space again.
That's it. Well, Joy really enjoyed it. She said it was super. Thank you both. Storyline on steroids. If you guys missed the first demo, it's right at the beginning of the session. Unless you want to share it again, Emily, for everyone to see.
Yeah, sure. It will be going up. When's Halloween? It's a little while off yet, but it it will be finished. Where am I going? And it will be up and online to play on Halloween, because there'll be more episodes, more levels to play.
Yeah, can't wait to see what you do with it.
And of course, my husband's, he'll be releasing his at the same time, which is a big walkthrough, which is going to be awesome.
I love that music.
I had a sinister one on there before, and we showed it to the kids, a different one, and it scared the crap out of our son. So like, bless his heart, he's not good with scary. So like here, this is where I've got an image over the top of the background image. So when the skull,
Yeah.
So we got it right last time. Let's do it wrong this time.
Oh.
So then it would just loop back and replay that level again until you get it right.
Yeah, it's really nice. Really nice. Well done. Gavin saying thank you. You know, it's you know, seriously, guys, this is you know, doing content like this is so much fun. You know, if you're really into the authoring tool, I know I spend a lot of time in Storyline just making passion stuff, just making little projects that I want to work out how to do stuff. I'd encourage you to do it. You know, Emily is doing stuff for her family. You might find that certainly during COVID, you know, there's opportunity to do things for schools, for churches, for so many different causes. But you know what? I think that in the workplace, if you are really smart with the way that you propose a solution to a client, it can be very, very well received. And it's just about making sure that it's relevant in whether it's it doesn't always need to be perfect representation, but I think there's so much that you can do. And you know what? You should on Team Chorley get some templates up for sale.
Oh, wait and see.
Yeah, I'm sure it's on her to-do list already. Yeah. That's like a mile long.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, Modesty is saying thank you as well. And I should let you go, Emily, but thank you so much for amazing. No, you know, nothing to be nervous about. It's just a casual chat. I'm sure people will be interested in the perspective. And thank you everyone for tuning in. It was a great, we had quite a few people sharing questions, and you know, thank you Arash for sharing Richard's. I'm going to have a look at that one again. That looks good. But really the key thing is the messages I think we got from this is there are different resources out there. And the great thing about Articulate is the community that's behind it. And you know what? Emily's amazing as well. So if you've got any questions, her information's in the description. Link up with her on LinkedIn to follow her so you can see her examples as she shares them.
Yeah.
And Mr. Chorley.
Yeah, follow Team Chorley on LinkedIn, because then you see the Mr. Team as part of the Mr. Team.
Yeah.
We've got stuff coming up together, so you see what we're all about.
I can't wait. And then it's going to be world domination from the whole Chorley clan. Gavin says, great session. And Araj says, thanks both. All right, guys. Well, we will sign off and we hope you have a lovely day. Tomorrow, I've got Kristen Anthony. Do you know Kristen Anthony?
I'm not sure.
Kristen's from the States and she is a phenomenal instructional designer. She's really gone now into more of UX kind of front end development role. She develops a lot of really great tools. Yeah, really inspiring. So I'm going to have her on tomorrow. So it's going to be a similar kind of conversation, I think, but probably she's proper nerdy though. She's in all the tools that I wish that I could use. So, you know, she's developing she's developing games in like Unity and things like that. So
I need to be.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I've tried that. I get to the point where I just can't I can't actually finish the game.
Yeah.
So I've done tutorials that give you enough to learn how to continue, but I don't know how to do it, but at least in storyline I can wrap it up. So
I can do it. If it's not layers, I'm screwed.
yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Emily. And thank you, everyone. Have a great day. If you're starting your day, I'm so sorry. I'm going to bed soon. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Adios.
Bye.
Bye.